Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family podcast, where every week Danny and Maura Vega discuss topics that help families live a healthy and active lifestyle with their little ones, including nutrition and training, peaceful parenting, education, and mindset. To stay up to date, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast and check out the blog at www.fatfueled.family. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at dannyvega.ms, at fatfueledmom, and at fatfueledkids, and Fat Fueled Family on YouTube. Enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? You guys are going to really enjoy this episode because it just feels like you're, on your couch, in your home, having a nice conversation with some really, really cool people. Today, we're going to be talking with Hans and Anya. They own and operate Carnivore Crisps, and we first got to try these delicious little meat snacks while we were camping in Cayo Costa this January, and they were just so delicious. They have a lot of the typical cuts like the ribeye, sirloin, all of those, but they also have some unique cuts that really stand out, like the liver and the heart. Dean was crushing the heart. Dean really loved the heart. The liver is as mild as liver gets, and I personally love it. The chicken is really, really good. And it's like one of those things where if you like to have some guac or some pate and you're looking for some chip replacements, you'll find that this is like way better than any tortilla you've ever eaten. It's going to be better in taste. It's going to be better in their nutrition. If you look at that liver package, it's eye-opening, man. When you look at the iron, the B vitamins, the vitamin A, it's off the charts, really, really good stuff. So we talked about their experience starting both of their businesses because they had a jerky business before this, and how they've shared and modeled this lifestyle with their children. You can find them at Carnivore Crisps, www.carnivorecrisps.com. And if you use the code FFF, that's for Fat Fueled Family, FFF, you're going to save on your entire order. Guys, definitely check them out. Check out all the flavors, honestly, and then go with the ones that you like the most. But honestly, if you're one of those people who can't get, your organ meats in your diet, you don't like them, this is the type of thing that you can make this kind of like an entry level organ meat thing where you can try the liver and the heart and all that. So without further ado, enjoy the show. Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk about our sponsor, Keto Brick. As you guys know, I have been around since the very beginning when it was just an idea, when Robert was getting ready for the show that took him pro and he needed something to help him hit his macros. And I've seen it grow into the company it is today. Just so proud of my friend, and I'm so proud of the company he's built, the people he's been able to help, as he has several people who work for them. And so he's actually helping people make a living doing this now, which is just unbelievable and so inspirational to me. If you don't know what Keto Bricks are, they are shelf-stable fat bombs, for lack of a better term. They are 1,000 calorie bricks, and they have great ingredients. They have ketogenic macros, usually like 88 to 90 grams of fat with 30 grams of protein. And then the carbs are anywhere from 9 to 14. Super low carb, super keto friendly, and you can do all types of cool stuff with them. I tell everybody my favorite is Keto Brick cereal. I chop it up into little chunks and serve it with a bowl of cereal with almond milk or goat milk, which is my favorite. They have several flavors. They now have vegan and whey options. So they have the whey protein peanut butter as well as the old school pea protein peanut butter, which either one of them is easily in my top two. Go back and forth between those and the toasted almond coconut. So definitely go to www.ketobrick.com, get yourself some bricks, and use Vega for a chance to win a whole month supply of bricks. What's up, guys? I'm here alone today, but I'm so happy to have you guys on.
Hey, Danny.
Thank
Great
you.
to be here.
Yeah, guys. So for everybody who's listening or watching, it's me by myself today. Maura could not come on, and I'm here with Hans and Anya from Carnivore Crisps, and we've tried their stuff, and we have delicious, very unique stuff, especially like the organ ones, like the heart and the liver. And we'll talk about all of that stuff. But we always lead off with the question: what is the most critical problem you're currently trying to solve?
After you, baby.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Well, for me, it's more personal. It just, okay, I'll use some terminology. I'm trying to stay on a high flying disc all day, every day, no matter what. Basically just managing my own moods and mindset, because that honestly gives me like the best return on investment.
Ultimate power. Yeah.
Ultimate power. Just no matter what, like to be if you cannot be happy, just be content with what is and eager for what's coming, not to let those dips last long.
Right.
If something happens, just
bounce back
Equanimity.
and go back on that high flying disc.
Yeah.
That's my personal.
I love that. That's equanimity, and that is the ability to float above all the BS that's happening. I like that. I'm on that same
there's
mission.
There's a lot of BS every day. You don't realize it until you're really aware of it. I'd have to piggyback on Anya's answer, because we're both down this journey, and literally every day we got a bunch of different challenges. Today I just had some really big challenges, and I was able to snap myself out of it instead of getting upset or freaking out or anything like that. I was able just to assess it, see what I've got, and really clear-mindedly, look at the situation and fix it. And like literally within 15 minutes, this end of the world scenario turned into like bring out what's next, So, but it's all on how we handle ourselves. That's ultimately it, and making sure that you're not freaking out to your people around you, because they feed off that. It's like you're a big source of energy, and anybody that's around you is going to feed off especially being the owners of a company. So all the employees will feed off of that. So it's very important to stay up high and keep your mind set on the goals, and just every day be grateful for what you do have and all the blessings that we have, and put yourself in that state of mind of being grateful, and then nothing is the end of the world situation. As long as I got my baby here and my kids for my back, it's huge, man. That support system is, I can't state that enough. It's huge.
Yeah, man. And I love it that you guys both went there, and it's obvious that no wonder you guys are going to go see Joe Dispenza. We were talking about before we got on the air.
Yeah.
You guys dedicating that time to personal development, and because that's how you show up best for others. That's how you're going to get the best out of your employees. We're mutual friends with Robert Sykes. Robert's one of my greatest friends, and he recently had an issue where they delivered several pallets of the protein powder early. And it was during these snowstorms, these freak snowstorms, and he had to drive 4 hours away to turn on the faucet so that his new house, the pipes don't freeze. Yeah. And burst. And sure enough, like he stayed there overnight. He comes back the next day. All of half the protein powder is soaked, and you can't use that, No. And it's he's really good about this stuff, and he's practiced it for years. But I just think in that situation, for example, it's going to suck. It's going to be however many thousands of dollars, in inventory that is now not usable. But then versus complaining that you have to buy it again, why not focus on the fact that, wow, I have enough money in my account that I could buy the same, supplies twice, and still be alive. I got the line of credit. I got, those things. So I love that you guys went there. So definitely we have to hear the story about, your health journeys, if that has something to do with it. What led you to, it started with JoJo's Jerky. Now we have Carnivore Crisps, definitely unique product. And it's interesting because there's other snacks, and we love the other ones too. But everybody has their own unique things. Like for you, what I would say is it's super crispy. I've never liked chicken, a chicken crisp. That's the first actual chicken crisp that I love. You have the liver and the heart, and actually the organs taste awesome. So yeah, tell us the story about how this came to be, and if it has anything to do with health, we would love to hear that as well.
Well, yeah. So it started with JoJo's Jerky, 10 plus years ago. So I used to travel a lot for work, design and build surveillance systems for casinos. And I would always end up in this little BFE town, that was, all they had was not even a McDonald's. It'd be like a Burger King or some little, anyways, something that I didn't want to eat. And so I used to travel a lot. I used to, literally make pounds and pounds of jerky in our little 1-bedroom apartment and travel with it. So I would, go out of town for a couple of weeks, travel with the jerky. I'd hand some out to like my friends and coworkers, and they tried it and they were like, just blown away. And they always wanted to buy it. It was it never really was a business at that time. I was just, giving it out for Christmas gifts or stuff like that. And then I met Anya, and we had our son on the way. And I didn't want to travel and raise my son from a hotel room. And this is before FaceTime, and FaceTime's great and all that stuff. And, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So literally with her blessing, we got married. We sold everything that we owned, literally the house, the cars, the motorcycles, pool table, like anything that was, not bolted down, even stuff that was bolted down, sold it to be able to get our commercial kitchen and buy our first dehydrator and start the process. I mean, literally I still work a lot, but I never complain because I love what I do. I love it with all my heart, and I'm very blessed in that aspect. But, so I was working, we sold the house, sold all that stuff, quit the job, took a job in town, on the Strip, actually managing 3 properties there at Paris Valleys and, Planet Hollywood, and started JoJo's at the same time. So literally working 100+ hour weeks for like 3.5 years before we could even pay ourselves.
Yeah, full-time job on a Strip. And how many hours?
Oh, it was 40 there, and then 60+ at JoJo's,
So not sleeping, but for different reasons.
Yes.
Most people don't sleep in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So that's where it started, and just hustling and through the economic crash, like we started the business, in the recession. And, at the time I had a 401k, I lost, 50+% of it. And I lost faith in like the system. And if anybody, if I'm going to back anybody in this world, I'm going to back myself. I'm going to put all my money and my heart into what I love to do, what I believe in, and then did it, and with my family's support, we were able to push through, and we're here 10 years, like literally 10 years. Carnivore Crisps just turned 1, but we are here for 10+ years. And that's huge, especially for a food business. I mean, it's beyond difficult, the challenges that we deal with every day. But, through that love, through that support, through a great product, all those things, and amazing customers and support, outside of the business, we're still here today. So, I've got it.
Yeah. You feel like emotional, right? Talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, of course. It's like a baby.
It's a third baby. Yeah.
And I think like one of the things that stood out to me was like, because I know people, I have friends that are Native Americans and are over in that whole area. And it's like anywhere, like whether like, especially on reservation areas, there ain't nothing to eat, man. And it's like, it's crazy when you think about, like, you go back like 300 years and those people, most of them were hunter-gatherers. They were following the buffalo, and now their only source of sustenance is like quickie marts, like literally quickie marts.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So that's interesting that's what got you started. But I just love the story. I love the fact that, number one, it really stood out to me when you talked about like losing 50% of your 401k, because I think there's way too many people who are like, we got to change the system. And then it's an exercise in futility, because you're not going to change anything. It's a massive monster, whether it's the food system, whether it's government, whether it's any of those things. The only thing you can do is you can control what's in your household, what's in your body. And like, we're on that one, man. We're all about like, now we used to always say, buy small, buy local. But it was almost like, I don't want to say that it wasn't authentic, because most of the time we do that. But we were not being fully authentic, because we would still go to the supermarket sometimes. Now we're really trying to share with people. And that's why I'm glad you mentioned this, is like, go buy from your local farmer, your local rancher, and, definitely have stuff, order stuff from people like Carnivore Crisps, because it's a small company. It's a small business. And like all of these massive companies, it's almost like I have contempt for them, and I've never been that way because I'm a big time capitalist. But because of the wealth transfer that happened this year, And, like what I saw, and, over 100,000 businesses, close their doors for good. Like, we have to support small business. And so I'm going to be a broken record. I want you guys to support small businesses, order from companies like Carnivore Crisps. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Now,
Yeah,
I'm glad and I'm glad you answered this one, because this next one's gonna be for Anya, because
Sure.
if you guys haven't noticed, she has a little bit of an accent. She's from Russia. She grew up in the Soviet Union, so like she was there before the wall fell. And my question was gonna be, it becomes even more interesting to ask this question, because we think about how our kids are raised now, like even from when I grew up. And when I grew up, we had a pretty spoiled, upbringing. But like the kids now, it's like you can click on a button and Amazon may be able to deliver it that same day. You have just the ultimate convenience in everything that you do, and it's developing or not developing children, and it's basically creating these really frail, needy human beings who, if you were to take away the phone or take away the ability to order out or anything, they can't do anything. And so we have to incorporate those adversities. But I'm curious to hear like the good and the bad differences, seeing like how you're raising your kids here versus how you were raised, and maybe even some of the things that you value, even though they were hard for you growing up in Russia.
Oh well, growing up in communist country, it's not a vacation, definitely. So pretty much government has decided everything. My both parents, they worked in a government structure. Food was provided by food stamps. So let's say government would decide that a family of 4 is supposed to have like 3 chicken per month, like 10 loaves of bread per month, that amount of rice per month, and blah, blah, blah. So, and you giving those food stamps, and you go and you cash them out for whatever you're allowed to eat throughout the month. So that was, I still remember.
That's exactly how it is in Cuba. That's exactly how it is in Cuba.
Yeah, and and you gotta hurry up. Sometimes shortages, they would be out there too. So I remember how it would be like a Russian winter, and me and my mom, we would stand in a line at the store that you only assigned by the zip code to specific store. There is no option for you to go and get something else elsewhere. So we would stand in a line. Line would be like, like that around the store. Outside, I would be in my forehead. And so, yeah, that's how it was, And of course, people, they had to get creative. It would be very common to have like a garden, so you can at least like supplement it with some veggies, so you can feed your family accordingly and properly. So in my family, we also had that garden. And the biggest thing that that we would grow would be potatoes.
I knew it was going to be potatoes.
Potatoes.
Potato everything, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she even had like a cookbooks, like 100 things about 100 recipes, everything with potatoes, from like potato cake to potato chicken,
Oh my God. Did she make potato alcohol?
Actually, my dad, he did, yeah. Moonshine, potato moonshine. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and until this very day, like I have like mixed feelings about potatoes.
Of course, I'm sure.
If there is meat on the table, no thanks.
Yeah. My gosh.
So, yeah, and of course, everybody would dress the same, like we only had, for kids of my age, we would have like only 2 colors, the same clothing, dark blue and dark brown. So that's what you wear, there is no variety. Unless like, for special occasion, like your mom or grandma will get creative and will try to sew something for you, like, I don't know, little blouse. Yeah, that was my childhood,
Wow. And then obviously you contrast with the way your kids are being raised. And are there any things that it's always hard to try to say, well, and when I grew up, because like they're just gonna be like, oh, come on, mom, stop. It's so annoying, because they don't understand. I've tried it and it doesn't work,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
But yeah, like, is there anything that you guys do to try to just like bring in a little bit of just a challenge into their lives? Like anything you guys can think of?
Yes. The importance of a strong work ethic and an importance of your mind. and that you can literally do anything that you put your mind to. So, and also like, just coming home each day, I ask my kids, how are they doing? And it's not like, okay, or good. They go great with like a bunch of, honest energy. And, my daughter started that and now my son's doing it, but it's, putting yourself in that state of mind. So, putting it out there, that positive energy, and literally, I mean, our kids are amazing, they're super fun, funny, but, also, my son likes to cook. Our daughter is a gymnast, so she trains like every day, 4 hours a day. Yeah. So she's a little
Russian gymnasts are got that. That's amazing.
And about work ethic, they do chores every day. They do chores. They do dishes. They do laundry. Of course, they take care of the lunches.
Feed the dog. Yeah.
Feed the dog.
How old are they?
9 and 8.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Ivan and Ava.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then they'll shadow me every once in a while. They think it's boring. Like that.
We've done that.
Yeah.
We used to, when I was a medical device rep, and I would and I didn't have surgeries. We homeschool, so I could do that whenever I want. And I would take them. They had their own little miniature scrubs. It was adorable because I was always in the OR, and they would come with me in the scrubs, and it was awesome.
How old are they?
10 and 6.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We have the chores too. Like we have basically a morning routine, an evening routine, and like they get a star for the morning, a star for the evening. And then there's a third star if like whatever that day's intentions, like, for example, lately it's been with my youngest, for him to use his words, because he goes from 0 to 100 and he starts screaming and he starts getting violent. And my oldest is such a saint, like he's, twice his size and he takes it, and he, and so like, if Dean that day doesn't, follow through on his intention, then he doesn't get that star, and that's financial incentive at the end of the week.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah. So, man, I love that. I love that. So, all right. So, yeah, this is kind of related question, but like as you guys may know, like a major focus of this podcast and our business is empowering families to eat better, to move more, and to grow closer. So, obviously interested because Anya, you have a background in psychology and you're getting your PhD. So I'm interested in hearing about, developing, a winning mindset or a positive mindset, but then how you guys tackle nutrition and fitness. Cause there's always that balance between keeping their autonomy and then of course getting them to do what we know and what we think is best. So we're always curious. And when people have kids, we always ask that question.
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, the way I got into nutrition, it was through, first of all, I wanted to lose weight. So when I came to United States, the first year, I was like, wow, all this food available. You can eat like whatever you want, like stores are so big. And
I can't imagine.
It was just, not just, a child in the candy shop. It was more than that. So, and by the time I realized that I need to lose weight, I started researching, how to do. And of course, I went first of all through Russian resources, and I found the diet. It's called Kremlin Diet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's how they used to prepare. Let's say Russian officers, for different tasks. And that's what ketogenetic diet is. Pretty much, this is straightforward keto, no treats. And my girlfriend, she told me, "And you lose weight. It's like, it's so cool. You can eat bacon, sausage, and like everything, steak, and you lose weight." Of course, I jumped on that wagon, and I started it. I loved it, it was great. And it was like back 14 years ago now, maybe even 15. So I'm like a keto veteran, in this regard.
Yeah.
So, however, one of the jobs that I had, I already here, I had to look certain way, and it was still not enough. The weight that I lost, I still had to lose more. Otherwise, I wouldn't get the shifts that I wanted, and so on and so on. So that's how I got into mental issues. So I started, pretty much one of my girlfriends, she said, "Oh yeah, so, either eat some cotton balls, like when you're hungry, or eat normal food, just run to the bathroom straight away, and purge. That's how I got introduced to bulimia, and eating disorder started. It's like, it's not good.
Of
It was
course, and a lot of us have them. A lot of us have them.
And I was already here in the college at our university, and it just had to stop. I was miserable. I was purging like at least 3 times a day. It was awful, And already some people at our universities, they were looking at me. They were noticing that there is this crazy girl, that sort of goes to cafeteria and runs to the bathroom straight away. So I was suggested to see a counselor because we had a wellness center on campus. And I went to see counselor, and in initial pre-screening, they ask you like questions, like different questions. One of them was about being suicidal, And honestly, at that point, when you're so deep into mental disorder, yes, I did feel suicidal at times, So, and I honestly answered all the questions. So after she came out to talk to me about our plan, she said, well, we got to work on it. Or according to what I see, you may not be allowed to go back to your study. You will have to take some time to recover your mental health. So, and they signed me up along with nutritionists, because with this kind of mental disorder, you got to work hand in hand, So nutrition is the sweetest lady. However, she was very old school trained according to classic FDA food pyramid. And when she looked at my journals, I had to keep daily journals of my nutrition, what I've eaten and so on. She would always tell me, you need to add more carbohydrates, like this like whole wheat bread, whole grain bread, add little pasta, even like candies, treat yourself. Just buy them in a small, like Halloween size,
Wow. This is for this for disordered eating nutritionist that's working with disordered eating. Wow, this is crazy to hear.
Yeah, because she saw
at
that
the university.
It was
crazy.
Yeah, but she saw that at that time it was not that common, eat ketogenic style where you pretty much omit all of that. And when she would look at my journals, I still had the strong habit that most of my meals, they would be keto, and she would see, oh, there is still like too much protein, like a veggies. And I understand where she was coming from now. I do.
Yeah.
But anyways, it just turned into vicious cycle. I was trying to following their advice the best I could. I would go through my therapy. I would go through my nutritionist advice, but things, they would get worse. Like, honestly, I felt like I'm being torn apart. Something was not right, And at some point, I dropped out of therapy, and I dropped out of my, nutrition sessions as well. That's it. And I was still in the university, and I just started doing in-depth research myself. What's going on? And, then I started to learn more about the sugar, how it affects the brain, how if you put 2 balls with water in front of a rat, cocaine and sugar, guess which balls they would coming back to more often. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I got involved into all of that. And at that time, things started getting better, Plus, after I met Hans, and he showed me the jerky. Of course, in Russia, there is no such a thing as jerky. I was like, oh, wow. He brought me like some bag, vacuum sealed, looking like something suspicious,
Were they sticks or were they like pieces of jerky, like big old
pieces? Yeah,
whole muscle pieces and vacuum sealed.
Vacuum sealed in a big brick.
Big brick. I don't know how many pounds.
Couple pounds, yeah.
And it was so good. I couldn't stop eating until I was like almost done with it. So, and then Hans, because he knew how I eat, and he started experimenting, classic jerky recipe, slowly but surely started turning into healthy jerky recipe. Yeah. To the point that from his line of products, there would be quite a few products with absolutely no sugar added, or even a product with just 2 ingredients of salt and meat. And that's it,
Hard to find that even now when keto's so popular. Yeah.
And last year I turned carnivore. I learned, I found out about, carnivore diet, and I decided, let me try, And last year I went carnivore. That's pretty much how Carnivore Crisps, got born.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were born.
Man, let me tell you, I think it's crazy that, but I'm not surprised. You know, a lot of people don't understand, number one, about the disordered eating. You know, I'm glad that it's become more acceptable to talk about it, because I remember like even 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't the same. You know, people weren't talking about it as much. And I can tell you that because I'm a recovering addict and my wife is a recovering addict. You know, I'm 8 years sober. She's 11. And I can tell you that, you know, our addiction is so much easier because we can just abstain. But when it comes to like compulsive eating and overeating and binging, and I'm going to repeat this because a lot of people don't know this, and I only know it because my friend Jessica, she's a recovering bulimic as well. And, you know, bulimia is not just binging and purging. For those who don't know, like it's any type of behavior that you try to engage in to correct what you've done. So like, you know, I hear this all the time, like, oh, I pigged out yesterday, I need to fast today. That's a tending towards, you know, disordered eating, because you're feeling these feelings of like, you know, you did something wrong or morally wrong, and now you got to fix it, or, you know, like, and so I want people to understand that, because I think even now people aren't accepting their issues with food, and we all have them. We all think, oh my gosh, okay, when I get back, I got to do this because, and what I've been saying for the last couple of years, and I'm like a pig in crap now, because I'm just like happy is because if I mess up, I don't try to undo that. I just get back on the next day, or I get back on that day after I make that decision. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And then as far as, your background, Hans, you know, what do you guys like with the kids? How do you, you know, are you guys having conversations? I mean, I'm assuming because of the fact that you're a food company, you guys talk about this stuff. Like, what type of conversations do you guys have with your kids about food, and how, if they eat different than other kids and it's actually visible? We've had to deal with this. Have you heard them make comments, or have you seen anything where, you know, a kid says, oh, why are you eating that? Anything like that? And if so, how do you deal with that?
First of all, they very cool kids, you know, like, and we witnessed it multiple times. Like, our daughter, she had a birthday party, and there was like one boy invited, you know, and he would just like sit there. You tell, honey.
It was sad. Yeah, he couldn't have, you know, he couldn't have the cake, and he's diabetic, right?
Oh.
But his parents, like it was so
Type 1?
structured. Like he's a bad, like it just seemed like he was a bad kid, you know.
Who's a type 1 diabetic?
I believe so.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just you saw like in his eyes and talking to him, like he was shameful of like food, and just wasn't properly educated on how to eat, and like, you know, first of all, yeah, it was really sad.
So, and honestly, I feel that, well, number one, we track what we bring inside the house, you know.
Yeah.
As a parent, you establish, there is freedom within boundaries. Okay, as a parent, establish boundary, you know. That's it. Whatever enters your house and your fridge. And plus, you know, when, let's say, I go to the grocery store with my kids, like I can do even quick test, you know, like, let's say, lift like those veggies, or like a good piece of meat, like, oh, feel how strong is your arm now. Oh, I love those muscles. And then, you know, some sugary cereal, like, let's try this one. Ava, can you hold this for me? Like, oh wow, it's sugar, it makes you weak and moody.
That's good.
Sort of you're giving them like a light suggestions, and they go a long way. Kids, they're so suggestible, you know.
Yeah.
So, and plus the way, you know, we pack our lunches, they know protein is great for you. We still have treats like fruit, you know. They eat fruit. If it is birthday party, I do not restrict them. If they want to have piece of cake, go ahead, have a piece of cake. Right. Otherwise, what? They will end up like me with an eating disorder, you know, all shameful and guilty.
Yeah. And that was the deal with Ivan's friend. And he was, he felt like he was a bad boy for even having a piece or wanting a piece of cake.
You know?
So it was very sad. Like, I don't want everything in moderation to a certain extent. If they want to try it, great, but educate them. Be real about it. You know, this is what's in here, guys. And it's not going to make you feel like doo-doo, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then, be proud of what we give them too, as far as like Chris taking it to lunch and share it with their friends, because our kids are very smart. And, it takes strong, smart kids to change our future, and having that confidence. So just educating them, and then, working with them, like cooking with them, so they see what's in food, and this is how you can do this. Why does this, it tastes a lot better than from the store or from, school lunch or whatever it may be. And that's why, it's fresh. We're using these ingredients, and just education on our kids, because like I said, they're our future, man. And if we don't, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. And my wife and I are very, very much the same. Mara would have been vigorously nodding her head as well when you guys were talking, because, people always say, oh, let them live, just let them live. And, we do let them live. Letting them live is what you're talking about. Letting them live is like when you go to the birthday party, they have the cake. When you have Halloween, they go trick-or-treating and they eat their candies. I'm still gonna offer to buy it, and if they sell it to me, I'm gonna still buy it. I do that, last 3-4 years we've done that. Sometimes they'll sell most of their candy, sometimes they'll be like, no, I'm good. But like that is what letting them live. Yeah. Just to give you an idea, like when Desmond was 7 or 8, yeah, he was probably at that time, I'd look at the candy and he'd be ambitious too. And I'd be like, anywhere from $20 to $25. That's a lot of money for a kid that age.
Yeah.
So last year, actually, Desmond picked out 3 candies only. He only took 3 candies and he made that money. Dean, the little one, was like, no, I'm good. I got the candy this year. But like, I totally agree with that. But there's a difference between that, what we're talking about, and letting them live doesn't mean buying them junk that you're going to keep in your house and making that a habit. That's not letting them live, because the things that they're going to, the sicknesses, everything that they're going to encounter is not going to let them live, so I totally love that you guys said that, because it's important. I'm a little bit stricter. And so thank God I have Maura to help me, because she's like, listen, we don't want to create our own eating disorders with these kids, and like for me, I'm it's never about you're going to get fat or you're going to, to me, it's like you're being weak, like it's like she has the empathy. I don't have the empathy, we were just talking about that on the last podcast, because I have a genetic SNP that is like associated with a lack of empathy. And she cracked up when she read that, because she's like, I've been saying this for years. You have no empathy. Look, it's here. It's on paper. But that's why we're a team. So I love it, guys. So, all right. So one last question on the kids, and then we got to talk about Carnivore Crisps, and what's coming up. But you guys mentioned, I think before we even got started, the involvement that your children have had with the development, the tasting, and maybe even the formulation, maybe even them seeing the process. But yeah, what involvement have they had in the process of the Carnivore Crisps, the jerky, and maybe even the cooking? Because this is something that we think is really important, because when kids have a hand in making what you're doing, they tend to eat it. They'd be like, oh, I make this, I want to try it. So tell me all about that.
Whole new level of pride,
I know.
Yeah.
They got their hands in it.
Last night, our son, as a matter of fact, he cooked us dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Oh, that's super cool.
Kids are brutally honest, as you know, and that's how JoJo started with my buddy's kid. I was always Uncle Hans, bringing over the big bricks of jerky and letting him try it, and he'd just say, Uncle Hans, is too salty or too spicy or this or that, and he'd always kill the bag, but he'd always give me his 2 cents too. So his name was Jonathan, and that's how JoJo's Jerky started. I told him if I ever start a jerky company, I'll name it after you. So 12 years later or something, we started JoJo's. So now my kids are little JoJo's. So they're the taste testers. They have a great palate. They're brutally honest. They will tell me if it's usually with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and you just see it in their face when they first try it. And for Carnivore Crisps, it was that way. Like they just eyes lit up, and they were loving it, and they still do love it. And so for any new flavors, any new proteins that we use, I always bring it home to my baby and my kids. So it's important, and it's have the honesty, and the kids are brutally honest. Anya is as well. Like there's no sugarcoating, and I want that. I don't want a bunch of yes men or women or anything like that. Like this is all of ours, and we want to bring the absolute best. So lots of trial and error, lots of taste testing.
Well, and
they
with us all the time, it's a family
business,
family owned and operated business, like they do everything with us. They know every single step. They help me with the payroll. They would write names on the envelopes, awesome. And Hans, he would put on them the hair nets, little aprons, masks, and they would go and help something in the kitchen, they would count bags. They involved.
Yeah, very involved.
Yeah, I love that. My son, my oldest, I'm like, listen, it's going to get to a point here sometime in the next 1 to 2 years, for sure by the time he's 12, because, Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, those guys, they had businesses at 12. There's a story there's a kid who captained a ship at 12. I forgot who it was, but he was a captain of a ship, in the colonial times. And, kids, especially if it's voluntary work, the whole thing with like child labor laws, to say that it's to protect children. I get that, because during like the Industrial Revolution, there were kids who were busting their backs and they were, getting thrown into the meat grinder, by mistake. There was like all of the new to all the equipment that was being, coming up at that time. But, if your child wants to work, I hate this whole thing of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, we're not allowed to say that in my house. Like, what do you want to solve right now? Let's get to it. Tell me. My oldest, he started his first business at 5. He sold dream catchers that he made hundreds of bucks. He got his bearded dragon with that money, and he paid for everything, the terrarium. Good. So, I totally agree with that. I think that's awesome. Man, you got to do something with like, I just see you like slinging bricks of jerky. Like I just see that somewhere, like in some sort of, like I'm going to have to make a meme of you, like I do with my refaces, like smiling with someone else's body, like holding like a brick of jerky. So, that's awesome, man. I love that they're involved. Like we said, like it's also, Desmond, as soon as he's like 11 or 12, just because I think at that age, he'll be able to do the work at the level that I want. But I'll definitely find work for him to do, because I'm like, look, he always is very ambitious. So like he wants to make, money. So like I give him jobs, I'll be like, at the end of the night, it's my job to do the dishes. And lately I've been passing that off to him. It's been awesome. We negotiate the price of each job. It's like, oh, what is that? That's a $2 job. That's a $1 job.
We don't pay for chores.
No, see, we don't either. But that one falls under mine. So
makes sense.
So like like the chores are like, those are the things that you have to do, and then everything else on top of that is what I would pay him for, and I would gladly pay.
That's right. We. It's funny. Dishes are my thing too. So there's something just satisfying about like a big thing full of dishes and knocking those out, and like, okay, putting the towel up, and I'm trying to push Ivan or teach Ivan to do the same, because just those attention to details, making sure that he likes clean dishes. We all like clean dishes, So, and the dishwasher doesn't do a good job. It just doesn't.
Yeah, we never, our dishwasher is like a drying rack. We never use the dishwasher either. So, so that's awesome, guys. I'm trying to think. There's one more random question I had. Oh, I did want to mention, because I was thinking about the kids, and I was thinking about my youngest loves the heart. Like, we're going to order some more heart, because he freaking crushes the heart. I did a very bad job. Every time he ate them, like I didn't have the camera around, like to like record him, because he's like crushing the heart. I'm like, oh, dang it.
And then it's gone.
Yeah. And then it's gone. That's the thing. Like, it's gone. That's it. There's no reduce. Like, we'll take a picture with an empty bag, but I did want to, I did see on JoJo's page. Did you guys ever go to like KetoCon as JoJo's?
We did not.
We haven't.
Have you guys did you guys go to any conferences? Because when I saw JoJo's jerky, for some reason, it sounded familiar, and it looked familiar. Maybe it was just something that it looked like the font for something else. But
We
you guys
might, honestly, we did so many.
Vegas, so.
We live in Vegas, and especially starting out, Georgios, we did so many events. We were just like trying to put our name.
Were they everywhere or just on the West Coast?
Just West Coast.
West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was Metabolic Health Summit. I don't know. It just looked familiar. But I was on the website and I saw this challenge.
Yes.
Tell me about this challenge, because man, ever since I've been carnivore, I used to love spicy food. Like I used to love anything that has to do with spicy. Give it to me. But ever since I cut the fiber from my diet, like I can't handle the spiciness anymore, man. It's crazy. So like I'm okay with it. I'm straight. I think it's like no fiber, nothing to like, and one of the things we learned, our buddy Kevin Stock, he's brilliant and he's a dentist but he's really smart with like, the whys behind everything with the carnivore diet. And he just came out. I got to talk to him because he just came out with a whole new course of like how to be a carnivore and how to try to do it the right way and, cross all the T's and dot all the I's and all that. But he mentioned that like when you remove fiber, your large intestine and your colon, part of the job is to absorb fluids. It absorbs fluids, and when you have lots of soluble fiber in your diet, it's like your colon gets a little bit lazy and it loses the ability to do that. So when you pull out the fiber, then your colon kind of has to get back in shape. But I have noticed that like every time I have spicy stuff now, it still hurts, so it's like, but yeah, tell us about this thing for those who are interested. Cause, a lot of people, I love the spiciness. I can't do it like I used to,
Yeah. So it's the Black Label Challenge. So a couple of years ago, we actually had a store on the Strip. So on the Las Vegas Strip, and we had, one, it was, Epic 5 TV, Ruben Sold that came into our shop and bought a bunch of hot stuff, and he was paying people to try the jerky. So literally now it's got like, I don't know, 15 million views or something like that, something crazy. But he filmed it, tried to pay people on the Strip $60 to eat it. He got a taker, and it looks like fine until you see the next clip where he went to the bathroom and I think he lost it. But it's crazy hot. Long story short, it's been named the world's hottest jerky. Black Label jerky. It's got Carolina Reaper, Ghost Pepper, Trinidad Scorpion, Habanero, Hatch, and Tella Cherry Pepper. So it's that blend. It actually tastes really good when you start, and then it just kicks your ass. Like literally, it builds up to just destruction. So
I'm sure he's wearing gloves, right? You had to wear gloves when you're eating.
Yeah. And we actually did. So we did a bunch of food festivals and stuff like that, and we'd always do the Black Label Challenge. So world's hottest jerky, and we'd get people on the stage and I would host it, and we'd have milk there, and it's like you drank milk or water, you tapped out, and try to kill a bag as quickly as possible. So it was really fun, but yeah, it's brutal. There was only like a handful of people that can eat the whole bag. And,
have you tried?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's like our hazing. When you get it when you first start, like making that, everybody's got to try our products because we want the consistency and the quality to be the absolute best we can be. And, so anytime we make those batches, everybody gets a little piece, and it's brutal. Yeah. There's a couple of tricks that Anya actually taught me, as far as being able to take the heat, like in Russia, as maybe a newcomer coming in from out of the country. It's always like, here's a bottle of vodka. Let's, you open it, you're going to finish it. And there's little tricks of how they do it where it doesn't, it doesn't
penetrate the system.
Yeah.
Wow, that's super cool.
Same with the hot food. So there's a couple of little tricks. So
I'm sure it's like anything, like when your body fights you, and when you fight anything and when you resist things. We were just talking about this because we did this, 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, and like I was dreading, like, oh man, that one's gonna be hard. That time is going to be hard for me. 4 a.m. The 4 a.m. one's going to be hard, or the 12 a.m. is going to be hard for me. And like that only happened the first night, and I was like, oh, this is not that bad. And then I found that I got a second wind, and I'm sure it's like with other things, it's like the way it's kind of like the same way the Buddhists like are able to do certain things, or or the I think it was the Vietnamese guy who set himself on fire. Did you ever see that? Like crazy, just sat there as he burned. It was crazy. So like the mind is able to do a lot of I'm sure there's other tricks too, but all right, let's get to the exciting stuff. You guys, you said that they try all your stuff. So this is like implying that you guys got something new. So you guys got any new flavors? You don't have to tell us. Whatever you can publicly disclose, we'll take it. So anything new coming up?
That you will be one of the first.
All right.
So
awesome.
We're always working on something cool and new. So right now it's the dog treats and there's always
awesome.
and then and actually some offerings of some fresh product too. So so that's in the come. Steak products.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So things that are not shelf stable.
Correct.
Okay. Man. Well, guys, like this was an awesome conversation. I wish Maura was here for it. If there's anything else you want to add, I don't want to cut you off. This was a great conversation. You guys definitely check out Carnivore Crisps. I've tried pretty much every flavor. All of them are good. The brisket, the heart, the chicken, the liver. I find now I haven't tried. I know that there's another company that has other like liver crisps, but I haven't tasted any organ meat products like in the same categories that are as good as yours. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's something that if you guys know, like I'm always right now, for example, we're doing the Carnivore Keto Cut, and one of the things that people we have a weekly checklist of things that they have to do or things that they should aim to do, and they should eat organs twice a week. So this is definitely something that people, if you're on the Carnivore Keto Cut, you get your Carnivore Crisps, get the liver, get the heart. I'm telling you, the liver, it's like one of those things where if you put it with cheese, even if you don't like liver, or if you dip it in, guac or it's so mild.
I use my crumbs and the eggs.
Right.
So
like a spoon. Did I record that? Did I did that or I didn't?
I think I did. She does it.
I did a video. So you like, do you use it as a spoon or how do you do it? Like you just
crush it up and
crush it in a bag, or you may have natural crumbs left. You just add it into your eggs. Like you can make it as a scrambled or like whatever. So good.
So then you put it in the scramble, and then so like does the jerky or do they start to like get softer, or does it stay crispy? Because
it depends how you want it. Sometimes I want crispy, so I will put them like straight away. If I want it softer, then I would sort of soak them in a little bit of water. Like I would use a little bit of warm water, like I don't know, while I'm, let's say, warming up my skillet, for a few minutes, and it softens it. So good. It depends how you want it.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember
make it your own. Like we get emails from customers all the time that tell us unique stuff, and we just love it. The more people to try it and make it their own, the better.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a note to include a link for the post where I used it was either the liver or the heart. I was using it as a spoon for my eggs, and my wife loved it. And I hate it because when I went to post, I clicked on a filter by mistake, and so it came out kind of weird. It looks kind of like orange or whatever. But I'm gonna put this in the notes for everybody who's listening. Yeah, I'm like, guys, this is not how it looks. My eggs look orange, like, and so yeah, I'm gonna put a link to that so people can see like what that looks like. And it was awesome, guys. Like the first time I tried this stuff, I was camping, and I don't know what it was, but I tried it, and I was like, wow, this was so good. I think the first thing I tried, was the liver and the heart and the chicken were the first three things that I tried. Oh, and the sirloin. And the kids loved it. We loved it. So definitely, guys, check it out. And we have a code. Now I'm forgetting the code because I have so many companies. Like, if you guys don't remember, I'm going to put it in the show notes.
Please do.
yeah. Dude, seriously, it's the worst for me. Like I'll put the code in the show notes. But guys, thank you so much. First of all, where can people find you online? And anywhere people can find you and get your products online.
Yeah. So carnivorecrisps.com. Check us out on Instagram at Carnivore Crisps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For classic jerky, jojosjerky.com.
jojosjerky.com as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to add the code to the notes. And guys, thank you so much for coming on. It was awesome to meet you guys.
Yeah. Very nice meeting you.
Yeah. Nice meeting you.
Likewise.